Hello, my name is Frances Fox. I'm a trained remote viewer, um, also trained in interspecies communication, all the psychic skills. I'm aligned with my mission. I determined to achieve the highest level of skill that I could in multidimensional abilities in order to bring forth information that is very necessary at this time, in which we're going from being a civilization, whatever you want to call it, or at least I'm talking about the United States and other parts of the world, they are more multidimensional. The United States, we're going to go from being totally grounded and landed and hanging on to the material dimension and material things, which doesn't mean you're materialistic. It means that your emphasis is on things that are physical or almost physical. And we're going to go into multidimensionality from one minute to the next. And there's many different things that can initiate that change. The main one, of course, being the existence of ETs being so clear that there will be no argument, at which time we have to accept that there are other dimensions or other beings, etc. Anyway, I'm not such a happy camper today because I'm having to deal with my own personal hell, as we all are. Remember, the Mayans said that at the end of end times, and that's where we're at now, our dark sides would get revealed. And that is what is going to cause the chaos on the planet. We are in the apocalypse, which means revelations. What's going on in the United States, but also across the world, other parts, is revelations having to do with sex trafficking and child trafficking in societies, and apparently with people that we found were models of society, or at least acceptable in society, icons, leaders, etc. And it is collapsing belief systems, and it's like pulling the rug out from under society to find out that there could be all of this going on at the same time. We thought that everything was hunky-dory, and it was other countries and other people that had problems. And that's hitting our self-esteem, and it has not hit fully yet. But it's going to be a while before our self-esteem gets repaired, unless people learn to do the shame mantra, which at this point I'm not feeling very confident of. So today I'm down. I'm dealing with my dark side, because my dark side that I had not finished dealing with was the same dark side as Darth Vader. And Darth Vader almost sold the universe to darkness, or to whatever part of the universe he was in charge of. Darth Vader lost his mother when he was a child. He never recuperated. He obviously did not do mantras. He didn't do energetic therapy. He didn't do any of that. And then he had a woman he loved. I believe it was his wife, and she was sick and she was going to die. I don't actually know whether she ultimately died or not, but he was looking for solutions. And apparently he found it in darkness. And then he sold everybody into the darkness, which was stopped, whatever. But basically, that's the case for all of us. It's something god awful that happens that breaks us. And right now, I'm referring to myself, but it was also, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because it gets too ugly, and I really don't want to get into that today. But it is our dark side that weakens us. If we haven't dealt with our dark side, we are weak. We are vulnerable, because there's actually breaks in our energy system, and darkness can come in, at which time it multiplies whatever darkness we all have. The bigger the break, the more it could come in. Darth Vader didn't deal with his darkness, which was his reaction, not the fact that his mother died and that his wife got sick. His reaction to that of rage, repressed rage. I'm dealing now with my darkness having to do with my battle with a spirit that still has, your person. When you die, your spirit separates, and then your physical body is a bag of bones, whatever. But before you die, that spirit was part of you. It's your astral body, it's your spirit, which is your astral spirit. So I am having problems with a person with a spirit that is actually invading me, but that person still has their original body alive. And if you look at yesterday's chat, you can get the whole storyline. But basically, it's Adam Schiff. I have no reason to invent that. The story alone is interesting enough. But here's the reason why it might be important that it be known who it is. Because if he is able to do what it is that he is doing to a person as expert as I am in the other dimensions, to a person that knows as much as I know about spirits, if he knows that much more and is actually incredibly operational, and he was basically running the dark side of Congress, we need to know that. Because this skill that he has, you don't develop that in 2 seconds. This is bigger than a bribe box, and it's the only reason why I'm saying his name again. The multidimensionality of this man's skills and the level of power that he held in the intelligence community because of his position on the committees, that needs to get looked at. This is scary. This is scary for me. But once I realized exactly what was going on, the panic attack stopped, and I just said, okay, what do I need to do? Where am I still so broken that he's able to do this? And of course, it has to do with the biggest threat, the threat to my family, to my children, which started when I was young. So it was the threat to my brother, my little brother when he was born, and then my sister. And then they killed my first pregnancy. They basically murdered my first child. And then they kidnapped my son when he was 10 days old because I wasn't answering questions about Watergate. So big trauma. Now, I thought that I had basically taken care of it because I've worked so much on it. Well, you know what? That is the break in me, because that continues today. Until this whole Kennedy sex trafficking thing ends, I'm not saying that Kennedy was into sex trafficking. I was sex trafficked to him. So I need to be real clear and real correct on it. Until that finishes, everything comes out, all the questions are answered, and then I can kind of breathe, and it's going to be old news. It is old news. It was decades ago. So that I keep getting hit there. And by the way, interesting that the people in mind control know about the energy system, because they would whisper into my left ear, and how are your beautiful children? Now, why was it always my left ear? Because that's where the portal is. That's where the big bad portal is. That's the one that this Schiff guy was using to come in and out. So let's do the map. Let's do some mantras. And we human beings have always been multidimensional. We are a spirit living a life on the physical dimension for a space of time, 0 to 70 years, 0 to 80, whatever. We're not finished when our physical body dies, and we didn't start at conception. And until we can actually make decisions and live life and teach children and do everything else based on our multidimensionality, we're going to be where we are, which is all the important questions are not answered, such as, when does a person die? Well, it's not when their physical body dies, because it takes, what enlivens your physical body is your etheric energy body. It takes 72 hours for that to die. So when your physical body dies, you're still alive. That's why people like me get hysterical when they're going to do an autopsy on somebody immediately after death, because they must know, well, that person is surely not coming back. Yes, I know. Most people don't. But there's a process going on. There's a reason why it's 72 hours. Do I know that exact reason? No, I don't. But me telling you 72 hours It's not something I came up with. In other parts of the world, they burn the bodies. And you know why they do that? They want to make sure that, oh, I just realized it. They want to make sure that nobody uses the body. Look how interesting. The thing that Adam Schiff is trying to do to me. That is the reason why the bodies are burned. So they're not usable. Remember, there are bodies, physical and the energy ones, are called vehicles. And each dimension has the vehicle that can operate on that dimension. So the burning of the body ensures that all the other bodies finish disconnecting and are gone. And nobody can use the physical body, but also the etheric. The etheric is the one that looks like a web, but in the shape of the physical body. We're not going into that any further. That's very interesting. So throughout history, oh, I remember. Throughout history, it's been known that you can use, somebody else can use your bodies. I've known that. Maybe I shouldn't have been so shocked at this thing with Adam Schiff. Maybe because I could actually see it. I'm going to ask today how many people in my Mantrista movement group could actually see Schiff's spirit. I know of 3 already, but I just want to make sure. There's nothing the matter with double checking, even me double checking myself, even though this, whatever. Let's go over the map. Here is the map. The United States has its membrane, which means that this is a collective reality within here, and it's really good. We have the Merkaba from the Galactic Federation. This is creativity, getting grounded in the United States, having to do with business. Isn't that interesting? I would have never thought that. But apparently, the stuff that's going on with the tariffs and all sorts of other things has stimulated business creativity. I would have never put that there. I don't draw what I want to draw. I draw what I am intuitively given. So that's good. California still keeps getting better. That's green instead of red. Florida looks good. There's a little bit of tension there. This is the helpful friends section of the country. And the friendship between Elon and Trump has been really good. That's still there. Perhaps there's some tension, but it looks great. What's okay? The orange is for creativity, new businesses. We're going to have new businesses, United States. The ocean floor is literally shaking. Something is going on underneath our feet. And I believe that that is the reason for this membrane that I think has already been discovered in other places. And I see if I can get a name for it. Up here I put, I got, and then I wrote it. Democrats are confused. They're confused and they're thinking, we can't be the bad guys. I mean, after all, it was the others that were the bad guys and they were the good guys. So here we go with the Mayan prophecy, the Tortuguero prophecy, that at the end of end times, the big issue was going to be good people having to look at, because it's going to get revealed, their dark side. How many things did I do with, how are your children? Okay, what do you want me to do this time? Oh, I got a great excuse. I'm a mind control. It's still the same thing. What did Darth Vader do when his back was against the wall and his wife died or was going to die, whatever? What are the Democrats' reaction to finding out with everything that's coming out in terms of Biden, everybody knowing that he was gone, the thing with the injection, the whole 9 yards? And this is what came up. The Democrats are confused. We can't be the bad guys. They don't want to be the bad guys. So now what are they going to do with that? What are they going to do with that? Are we going to pin them to the wall and break them? Or maybe give them a little bit of leeway so that there might be a little bit of a graceful whatever? I don't know. I was not expecting this. But so we're gonna have half of the Congress in shock and then scrambling to figure out how to get out from under this reality publicly as they're dealing with it fully privately within themselves. This is the thing with the whole collective shadow Trump that needs to be looked at, because too many people too unhappy at a baseline level. And yes, that's the way it's supposed to be now. Okay, but that doesn't mean that's the way it has to be. Remember, prophecy is to show you the path that you're on so that you can get off it if you don't like where you're going to end up, where the prophecy says you're going to end up. So, how is this addressed? I'm not sure. And I don't think I'm going to be working it through during a chat, but it needs to be addressed. It's just too many unhappy people. And we don't want a country full of unhappy people. And yet we have here the new businesses and the business creativity. So, two different things going on, two entirely different things going on. Of course, I would want for everybody to be okay, but I'm not sure that that is possible in end times when you do have to have the ultimate hitting together of dark and light. That's certainly what it is that I'm dealing with right now. Not a happy camper. Not a happy camper. So let's go ahead and do the mantra again, having to do with, let's do the anger one, which is the one that's always I am putting together the stress management program that I am going to get over to Trump. I'm actually kind of excited about it. It's basically everything I teach. Okay. And we're going to, you know what? Let's do it a little bit more fun. Let's do this one. Okay, the mantras are repeated in silence. You repeat the mantra in silence, you expel the breath through your mouth. And let's do 10 minutes. And actually, if we do 15 minutes, you're going to feel better. But let's do 10 because most people don't have the patience. We're going to change mantras. I was sitting here thinking about the thing that I said a few minutes ago about half of Congress, and I said it because it came up on the map of the United States. The Democrats are confused and they're saying we can't be the bad guys. I mean, they don't get it. They really apparently didn't see it. That creates a reaction of shame. The shame is the lowest vibration humans have. Shame will break you. Your mind streams, instead of extending out like the branches of the tree of life, your mind streams come in because of shame. So we're going to go and do the shame mantra for Congress, both houses. And I'm going to put on the music for your solar plexus, which is called the garbage can of emotions. A lot of shame creates issues in the upper lip. But wherever you feel movement in your body, go ahead and take your breath there and maybe even doing some tapping there. Okay? So the mantra is, even though I am ashamed, I love and accept myself. You repeat in silence in your head, you expel the breath through your mouth, and you tell God this is for the US Congress to reduce the shame of the people that are now being informed of the stuff that went on behind the scenes in their name. Okay? And let's put the music. Let's do 5 minutes. And if you're sitting, both feet on the ground. And you can do the Apana Mudra. Hold on. There we go. The Apana Mudra would be good. How do you feel? If you're concerned about the United States, this would be a good mantra to do. And what you need to know is that mantras are miraculous. I didn't invent mantras, they're devices that liberate the mind. The sound Om is a mantra. What I did get creative with was the type of mantra. The most traditional mantras that we're familiar with in this country are the ones from India and Tibet, and they have to do with spiritual development, and they are excellent. I am more trained by the military. I try to make people more operational and able to live with less anguish with the kind of mantras that I put out. Right now, I'm not interested in the spiritual evolution of Congress or the United States, even though I work on that as I'm bringing forth all these things. I want for things to be stable and people to be able to earn a living and people to be able to be happy, which are more mundane intentions. But that creates the difference between the kind of mantras that I'm teaching you and the other kind of mantras that you could learn if you get involved with Buddhism, which I am involved in, or if you get involved with a guru from India. It's the intention is what makes the difference. So if you have a problem with your life, your family, your job, whatever, the kind of mantras I give you can give you some instant relief or long-term relief and align you more with what you want. The kind of mantras that are for you are going to take a lot longer and they won't have usually measurable results. It's not a criticism, it has to do with what your intention is. So, just as the Mayans predicted in the Tortuguero prophecy that was discovered in 2012, the big issue now, from what I'm seeing, is going to be the people that pushed the shots, that pushed agendas that they didn't have full information on. And now it's found out that this was god awful. The level of shame, shock, trauma, I supported that. I'm responsible for this. Huge issue, much bigger than any of you who are listening to this can understand. Shame is the lowest vibration. Who cares about vibration? I'll tell you why it's important. Because when you're not ashamed, your strings, your mind strings from string theory extend like the branches of a tree and they form a canopy of protection that God gave us. When you have shame, you withdraw, you pull in those mind strings and you lose your protection. So it's real important to address shame issues. Thank you for joining me. Okay. And we will see you again. Bye.